Right here. There's the other. Hey. All right, where is over there? A little closer to you.
We talked to she
I got one.
something.
What one? I gave you one
For like a trip.
Joe?
Yeah.
She
nominated me.
Okay.
I guess you gotta get on it.
It's Questa. That one's just Questa. He gave me a blue one too. Yeah. He gave me a white. I can't wear anything with light colors.
That's not a meal. Last one.
Everybody's not working on it. Except for me.
There's coffee.
Coffee.
Try and get a QISD coffee.
I'm up at 4:30 every morning.
So my doesn't matter, man.
I'm up like a damn light bulb.
My problem is I can fall asleep.
So down. Misbehavior.
Oh, I know.
Superintendent coming home.
Yeah, I'm supposed to. Make sure to get everybody sometimes
When I had everything.
it's online because it's part of the city.
That little lethal book.
It does that.
To give to you.
Or to go. Which one?
I was telling you about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's from you. Yeah. He's getting through it.
It's like, what do you have? Like, you're gonna read tonight. So I'm with my whole binder, but now I'm like,
Go find me.
no binders, no book, no folder.
I'm sure I'll see you again.
I said, Jim, died when I had to go over there.
I wasn't there yet. And you missed it.
There's
I told Jojo to pick you. Yeah, he works for me. Yeah, he does the adult league.
Thank you. Yeah, they already got it. It's like, I was just like,
Are you trying to phone yet?
I'll share it.
That's it.
9 people, 10 people are on it. Of course.
That's what I said.
He's coming.
I checked on him before he got here. Was it you? Oh, day.
How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. You miss class?
No, not at all.
Do you want to start a couple days?
No, that's right. Yeah, I must.
Give her some.
What's happening? How you doing?
Did you get the? Is your attorney jumping on that?
Really?
I don't think they have no attorney still.
What's that?
Yeah.
I don't think our
Pero a mí se
attorney.
me hace que lo están comiendo and maybe not giving them out. Digo, es lo que están allá.
They kind of ruin things.
Because they don't do what we tell them to do.
And then they cost a lot of money.
Is she getting on or no?
It's okay because I think we can accomplish tonight. Probably easier than going through the attorneys.
I just want to know where the disconnect is, then if it's with them.
Well, I don't know. I think this was the best way to go about it.
That's
I mean, obviously, it had to be a public meeting.
Like you come.
We're all on the house, hopefully.
It should be.
Hopefully you can hear us. Yes, that other. What's your different? Other system as well. We're not doing it anymore.
No, that was it. I had a question for you, but.
I think that one is in relation to. Yeah, but it was in relation to the fund. Huh?
Did you do with them?
No, but I'm saying that conversation was in our capacity is 24 hours. That's
This gonna cost.
I don't know how much was it anyway? We don't, yeah, we don't. That's in relation to the fund. We don't play that game. Hard to have that. Just look at what it's about. Right. Well, I think
But that
before,
might be what ties it to us.
he would, they would demand that he be here. It was 3 hours from Albuquerque, every meeting, 3 hours back, 6 hours just to travel. Plus whatever our meetings were. It was like a 9-hour charge every month. No. And that's, he must not be able to hear us.
First time I see it.
That was 13.
But yeah,
Second of
yeah, conversation did take place.
Oh.
Either that or he
That's gonna
was.
cover around 15 of that.
Can you hear us? No. He doesn't know what we're making fun of him.
No.
Excuse me.
Chris, can you hear?
The blue is on.
Oh, yeah.
Speaker has changed to echo
Yeah.
QISD.
volume's up.
Chris, can you hear us?
Is Mike getting on?
You can hear something.
Okay, then we'll call this meeting to order at 6:06. Ms. Hill, please call roll.
Councilman Brent Jaramillo.
Here.
Councilwoman Louise Gallegos. Here. Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilwoman Katrina Gonzalez. Here. There's a quorum, Mayor.
Next item is Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're in the state of New Mexico.
You guys, you're more than welcome to listen to that. Okay. First part of the negotiation done. Next item is approval of the agenda. We have the agenda before us. I don't think you all do. But
Motion to approve the agenda, Mayor.
it's a simple agenda. We only have one item, is the work study sessions.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Gallego, second by Councilman Gonzalez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Next item is the work study session. What we're all waiting for. So I guess what we want to accomplish here is that we want to get this done and over with. In my personal opinion, we need to get this settled, and we need to get moving on to working together on bigger projects. And I think this has gone on way too long. We just need to come up with a resolution. We thought we had a resolution. I guess we don't yet, so. And I don't know where the disconnect has been. I don't know if it's been with the attorneys. I don't know if it's been communication on one side or the other, but I think tonight's a good opportunity for us to kind of get it all out, to find out where we're at and where we're going from here. I know tonight we can't make any decisions, or you guys can't make decisions tonight either because it's not on the agenda, but we can come to the next meeting hopefully with decisions, or where we can make decisions.
Mayor, I think the understanding was that we were gonna give you guys almost 2 acres. We're gonna do the fence in the front. But you would not have access to school. I think it's pretty simple.
And I'm gonna disagree with that. The whole reasoning for us changing our water rate was because we want the access to the school, knowing that we were getting those 2 acres.
But I think the rate would have to change because I think we were getting overcharged for our usage already.
There's no such thing as an overcharge. It's all based off of what the ordinance is. We changed the ordinance last year, but so I'll just give you a little bit of history. When we changed our water ordinance, when we had the water outage in 2017, OSC came to us and told us, you guys need to change your water ordinance. You guys aren't charging enough. We waited to 2023 to actually do that, but we did that based off of a water study. We didn't just come up with numbers out of our head. We did that on a water study. The water study that they gave us 6 different rates. The rate that we chose to go with was actually the least that we could have gone with. It was half of what the rest of them could have been. Because we didn't want to put that burden on our citizens, on our businesses, on you guys. We also called at the time we called all the municipalities in the China Circle. We found out that we were by far the lowest charging water utility in the China Circle at the very least. After we changed our water rate, guess where we're at? We're still the lowest charging water utility in the China Circle. Right about the same as Eagle Nest. Everyone else is way up there. So.
Mayor, to add, I guess the question we had originally was, when this first started going, based on the agreement that we had on the water charge, it was based on the amount of students that we had, and we never had that amount of students. The last time we had 400 students was probably before I was in high school.
But I guess.
So it was based on that. It wasn't even based on the amount that we were using, really.
It wasn't on the meter.
It was based on the number of students. So that was our request is, one, well, let's change that right up because the amount of students is not 400.
Hold on, Chris.
Just a
Hold
minute,
on,
Chris.
I'm gonna raise you.
Oh, we're spinning.
Okay, I had to set the microphone louder. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let me provide a little clarification regarding that aspect of things. So the village's water ordinance has nothing to do with the number of students. Instead, the village water ordinance is broken down into monthly water service rates for 5 independent commercial classes, including a residential class. So there's 4 commercial classes, 1 residential class. Currently, the school district is in relation or is placed within commercial class 4, which is the lowest billed class for the percentage of water that is used. However, following our adjustments to the monthly water service rates at the end of last year, the village found that it was appropriate to decrease the amount of costs associated with school districts by 20%. We made an exception within the water service portion of things. So in total, there is no correlation between the number of students to the classes that are utilized in the water ordinance. I'm not sure if that clears that portion of things up, but I'm happy to answer any questions I can in relation to that.
Well, that clears that part of it up, but what we'll do is we'll find the agreement that was put in place before this ordinance took effect, and that way we can supply it, because it was supplied by you guys, by the village, that this is how it was being built upon, and that's what we had in hand. And it was before you, Mayor, the previous mayor, I don't want to go back on that piece, but that's how we understood it, and that's what we continue to chase because of all that stuff that stacked up during that time. So when we get all that agreement, and when we all find that agreement that was supplied, that was what we were under the assumption, so we wanted to make sure that why are we being billed, and who knows how far back that went.
That's just what I was gonna ask. What year was that set in place?
Well, this would have gone in place from, I think it was about 2017, 18. It would have been from then all the way back, who knows when it was put in place.
I can tell you, I've been on this council since 2016. We never, as a council, correct me if I'm wrong, council, we never agreed to that, because that would have taken, that's not just like kind of Chris, what Chris said. That's not just we can vote on that and put that in place. That's a whole change to our whole ordinance, and our ordinance hadn't been changed until 2023. It hadn't been changed in at least 10 years.
2023, when was the last time it changed?
I think it was 2012, correct?
I'm not sure what year, but it was a long time.
It's been a long time
I
since
think
we changed
2012
it.
was when the feasibility study was conducted.
No,
That was in
2017. It was
This one, yeah, this one, of course, this is before 2023.
Well, even off of the student enrollments, it was probably like 7, 6.
Yeah, that had to have been before that 2017 date, because I drafted that ordinance change, and that did not change anything in relation to the school districts. It just changed those commercial classes that I was just speaking of. So it had to have been prior to that, and I'm looking through at least my notes, but the previous, I think the previous ordinance for that hadn't changed since the 90s, but I can look, maybe 98. But but there was nothing in there, again, that's still with the commercial classes. There's nothing that states anything. But I'll look through our records and
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
I'll pull up what we have, and that way we can share it with you, because it was 400 students. It was weird.
Yeah,
I had never seen anything like that on any utilities that I've worked with. This one was a specialty. So that's kind of what triggered it. Like that's why we brought up the question. It wasn't even, we didn't care about the water rates or anything like that. Other than, are we being overcharged or are we not being overcharged? That wasn't even part of this original agreement that we put in place for the fence. because we're still stuck on, we told you guys that we were gonna ask for permission, or we'll ask for permission after the whole fact, and that's what we went on with. Ask for forgiveness, right? And that's how it was stated strictly in our meeting, in public meeting. Ask for forgiveness later. We just had to go drill because it was an emergency. We understood that. We never stopped anything like that. We let it go through. Then all of a sudden, the village got funding. Oh, we gotta spend this money to build this fence around this property. We gotta do this. If we don't spend this money, we don't build this fence, we don't build this building, we're gonna lose it. Please let us just build it. Okay, but what are you gonna do for us? Oh, we'll build the fence, we'll fix your road. Okay, they built a new fence, built a new building.
Just around the building.
On the property of the schools. So all this has been in good faith, and I think we've done a lot of in good faith. Because if you look at the piece that you guys actually own, it is 0.02 acres, 0.04. And now you guys have a fence on about half an acre, and the building and all that it takes up.
So has there actually been a survey on what we actually overbuilt on? That's what.
Nope. Doesn't look like it. Oh, the only survey we have was from Conrad that we built that actually showed the property, and it had your 0.04 acres, and then the rest is the entire school.
Did Conrad give us a survey?
Yeah, he did that in 19 or 20.
See, a lot of this was information about given to the council, but I can't tell you on the fence, we were prepared to move since this council approved that fence going up. Well, we approved our ARPA money, which was at least, no, this is the fence that you guys wanted at the beginning. We were willing to move on that a long time ago. We're waiting on you guys. So I know you're talking about good faith, but I think we in good faith have been acting too. We've approved that ARPA fence. But if you would have let us approved our deal, we would have gravelled the road when we had on down, we'll do the rest of the roads. The fencing, we've already gotten a quote on that. We're ready to move on that. We could move on that tomorrow if we want to. But we need that to do.
We were ready to do that the following year. But there was another obstruction, another reason that.
So this council's been ready to go on that part.
So when we went back and we talked and discussed as a group, what we're struggling with is turning that actual road and access to an actual easement. Right now, it's not an easement. If we turn it into an easement, then we have to automatically give that full easement that even cuts to our property right behind the field, all the way to the actual field, and then you have to take the road all the way down to your
You
road.
have to grant the easement all the way from the main gate.
So now, if we ever wanted to build anything right behind the football field, we can't, because now that's a dedicated road easement to that property.
Actually, the initial.
Can I step in? I'm sorry, one more time, Mayor. And the agreement that we had provided with the proposed terms wasn't asking for an easement. It was asking for an access agreement, which that's the exact reason why that change was implemented. The access agreement would just provide the village an opportunity to access your property, no matter where you build your new stuff by the football field, whatever happens. It would just allow us to access the property to be able to get to our well house. So there wouldn't be no specific easement through your property that would prohibit you from building anything.
So, thinking about that, where the road runs right now, that's a big drainage for the Martinez's. I mean, finding a building spot there, is difficult.
Well, this is what, at least from, these guys have been on the board longer than I had to deal with administration. I wasn't around on the board then. My understanding was, put up the fence that's going to keep the kids away from the well, travel that road and maintain it so just we don't get mud and everything else. And that was that. But then you wanted us to donate property. So then that's kind of where I at least for my part, I think the village met us halfway with the agreement to say, hey, Because we said, well, how are they billing us? Because we didn't know, but we see what we paid. Well, how do they come to this number? That's when we figured, well, they said it was for 400 students, whatever. But I appreciate that you guys said, okay, maybe that's not fair, so let's work with that and adjust it so that we can, in good faith, and I would agree with you there. But I think where the hiccup comes is, if we're going to donate land, then we said, okay, we said, we'll give them 2 acres or whatever that whole
back
the whole back piece, that way you guys can have, if you're gonna build or drill another well, you have the room to maneuver that if that's where the water is found to be the best. Then, you know.
But with
that, then we say, well, the village has an easement to the backside to access the well.
We don't have an easement to the backside.
Okay, that's not what we understood. I didn't know that.
In fact,
So
if you
that's
look at
how
the
come
deeds,
when I said, if we're gonna give them the land, then they can access it through the backside, then there's no reason to pass through the school, because we're gonna give you 2 acres. So that's, I think, where we got a little bit of the umbrella there is, well, that's where we were at.
So looking at the county, provided us, there's no easement for anybody on any side. And I think that's because I know that we had talked about Martinez land. There's no easement there, according to what's in place. When we asked for additional, they gave us the easement for the land in Martinez zone, and there's no out there. So nobody has an easement to anything. So basically, our well's sitting in a place where nobody has access to it, to any type of easement.
The attorney just said, we're not asking for easement, we're asking for access. So there's a difference.
Yeah,
And the tough part is it's, it's supposed to be a closed campus. When parent or somebody, as soon as you cross that gate, you gotta go to the office, you gotta go do your Raptor, and your background checks, and it's not like, and it's for the safety of the kids, you know what I mean? But if the gates stay open so the village can go in, we have other people that own property back there that have a tendency to come in. And then it just kind of, for us, we had the one incident that kind of led us to believe, just close it. It's because, it's for the safety of the kids, it's not worth having it open. And I mean, if you guys aren't going to go to the backside, what are we really getting for donating 2 acres? Fence?
you guys are getting 20% off your water bill.
Well, so
Thanks,
it's
Dave.
sounding good.
Can I step in one more time?
Basically,
I'm sorry, I'm just looking through our notes from what I think the agreement has stated. And that the 2 acres was something that the village necessarily did not ask for.
No.
All we simply need is the well, the portion of the well that is not currently owned by the village. And in relation to accessing the property, the village 100% agrees the safety of the students are a top priority. And we've agreed that we would have our folks call in and let you know that we're going on the property, and also avoid any drop off or pickup times. And all we asked for was the number for somebody who we should call when we were coming in to maintenance that well. But unfortunately, wells need maintenance, and they're going to need somebody to go through there. And as we just discussed previously, the village does not have access to that property from the backside, and that would be through private property, which is not something the village has any control over. So overall, I think we can come to some sort of agreement in relation to the safety of those individuals, the students, which is everybody's top concern here.
So just so everyone knows, that we're talking about incident. During the summer, there was an employee that went through our property. We were having practice. There was a kid that ran by. The employee was on his phone texting on a personal vehicle, almost hit the kid within inches, and it just kept going and just went straight to the well.
Why did you not report it to the village? Then that employee.
It was.
It was never reported. This is the first.
This is the first time I hear.
This is the first time, besides your conversation 4 weeks ago, that it ever come to us. So if that came to us then, we would have done an internal investigation, but that's
all you had a report, right? It was brought to my office, and
we contact the village and let them know?
I've been the administrator since January and I haven't heard anything about this.
Because, you know, prior to that, I mean, closing the access, we never really thought, right? We were okay with the road, fixing the dirt road, putting a culvert and the fence. It wasn't until that incident when we thought, oh, and that's why we thought, well, let's just give them the property, come in from the backside and it kind of.
I would tell you, if that get reported, we would have done it. And
Immediately.
we would have taken disciplinary action about that. As for our investigation. But if it does happen, like,
It triggered us now to put cameras towards the backside now that facing and all that, just so we can get that type of video. To the front now, we'll have on the backside.
I guess in the future, if something like that does happen, please reach out to Karen right away and let her know that way we can.
I think we've been on the page where you guys have checked in, they've done, I know that one of the things that I did ask our attorney that with this, that, you know, we do put in place that if 4 degrees and access is granted through that property, that they're, we've asked for times, of course, times that are primary drop off, pick up, those type of times. And we've also asked that, you know, employees be in their village vehicles, so it's not anybody coming, because this wasn't a private vehicle, I believe. It was a private vehicle. So we've asked those types of things, which kind of narrowed down to the times. It's about 3 times a day during the school day is about the time that we'll come and access that front one. And so we kind of access that down, and it's pretty frequently on the exact same time. It's not a big change. Maybe it's a few minutes here and there, but it's not a big change. So, you know, I can say, you know, appreciated what you guys have done. I know that it's been that sense, and you guys have followed that in sense, and you know, and even that, I think talking with Ms. Adams, and she's on as well, is that if we did have somebody that violated that policy, to give us that ability to kind of not allow that person onto campus, which would be the same for any of our employees as well as our students. If they violate what we consider unsafe driving, any habits like that, then we can pull them and not allow them back onto campus. And you know, and so I think Sam has provided some of that information.
Yeah, I spoke with Chris about the concern arising from what happened, and I don't know when that happened. Did that happen with the student? Was that this past summer or the summer before?
It
Actually,
it might have been the summer before the 2022 summer.
Okay, yeah, I don't know when that happened, but anyway, the greatest concern really from my perspective and understanding was, you know, fairness, it was safety A, and then fairness B with regard to an exchange of what folks needed, meaning the water, consideration about the water fees. But I don't know, I did mention to Chris, or explain to Chris, look, it's possible that we can resolve the concern about safety. And I told him I didn't have any authority to make an offer, but I asked if we could develop some type of a sort of a site, I'm going to call it like a citation system, where if we have a driver who is violating safety, school rules, safety rules that, as you know, John said, that we would be enforcing on anyone who's on campus, that we have the right to report it and address it, because we do have the authority to ban private citizens from the property if they are posing a safety risk. So if if there were to be an access agreement, it has to include some provision that gives the district authority to really regulate that, as opposed to like regulate the safety issue, as opposed to, no, we could never ban access. Now, we understand that it's for the community's interest, including the district's interest, to have you access the well. We get that, because this is water for the community, including our students and the district. So we understand that, but they're not mutually, the safety of our students is not mutually exclusive from the water needs, in the sense that, that I don't know that you can prioritize it. Maybe it feels like we could prioritize access to the well over student safety, but I don't think so. Because if we had a dead kiddo, that would probably be more important than, us waiting an hour to try to access the well after school, let's say. So I think that's where we're coming from, generally, is that it feels, it has historically, we just haven't had the ability to regulate the activity, and providing access is, while it's beneficial to the community, and I just want to reiterate that we get that, and we're part of the community, that we also have to have the power to regulate activity on campus just like we would for anybody.
Yes.
So what is your, I said citation, I think Chris and I had talked about like a 3 strikes you're out kind of thing, or a process for reporting or investigating, a violation of safety rules if there's somebody, we know, and we know that the village has to access the campus anyway, because we have a well on campus. So you have to do that every day anyway. We get that. So it's whether it's you're accessing the front well or you're accessing the back well, that we have to have the ability to regulate activity. And I think at the end of the day, that wasn't included, that piece, it wasn't included in the village's proposal from October 4th. I am not pointing fingers at Chris, like he should have included that. I think that just wasn't something that we were talking about at that time. But I think we can all agree that the district needs to retain authority to enforce safety rules on campus, because we all care about our students. So if we could come up with some type of a system, and it doesn't have to be extravagant, but just some way of being able to say, this driver, for example, this driver is driving too fast, or this driver drove over the field, or something that we're not expected to have, abdicated all regulatory authority over what's going on campus, when we're responsible for all liability, regardless of who's there.
Ms. Adams, with all due respect, as far as regulating, yes, you guys have the right to regulate the times as we have agreed. But as far as posing disciplinary actions against village employees, I don't believe you have that authority, or we can give you that authority. Because as soon as the action happens, the village should be notified, and we should be able to discipline our own employees to our standards.
Yeah, I agree that the discipline piece is, separate from banning somebody from the district property. That's not a discipline issue of an employee specifically. It's a, hey, village, you've created a dangerous situation.
Correct.
So I do agree with you that it's not like a personnel issue, and we're not trying to discipline, and that's really, it's more about creating sort of expectations And you're right, we do need we need to report it if we have a concern. And we need to know probably where we should report it if we have a concern, like specifically, whom should be called
The
if there's a
administrator,
concern.
directly to the administrator, and she will handle the situation.
But what she's referring to is like even if we have a parent, somebody from another team that comes to the game, they violate something to the school, then the school has the right to
Yes,
say,
of
village,
course.
this person is no longer allowed on our property for this reason. What you guys want to do for discipline is up to you.
Yeah,
Right.
We'll just notify you that they're no longer welcome.
Ours
Yes.
wouldn't be a disciplinary on any of it. Ours would just be, we have what we call a no trespass order, basically. Given to that person, that's usually served to that person, basically stating this is a violation of whatever the code of conduct is or whatever that New Mexico statute is, and that's handed down. That can always be reviewed and be brought back, and so it's not technically discipline, it's basically just saying that this person violated what we consider an New Mexico school conduct policy or any type of policy like that. And so I think Sam, you got a question, Sam, or got a comment?
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, I mean, the village, like your room right now, the room where you're in right now, you have the authority to ban somebody from that room if they're creating a safety concern. So it's like that, but I wanted to raise what I understood from Chris, that the barrier to creating sort of this banning agreement really was about the fact that you only have the village only has a couple of employees who can actually do this work. So let's say, and I don't know that this, I don't know what the number is, but I think what I understood from Chris was that you only have 2 or 3 employees who can do that. So if somebody's out sick and then somebody else, for 3 weeks on FMLA or something, and then, you have one person who comes in and we think that they've created a safety concern, then the village has nobody to service the well. So that was where, we wanted to have more, we didn't exactly know how we could shape an agreement about what that would look like that serves the district's safety concerns, but also serves the community's water needs.
And I just like to say that when the mayor found out about this incident that happened in 2020 or whenever it was, I came in at 7 o'clock the next morning and met with the guys. And I talked to them about that. And I told them, I don't know who it was because it was not reported to me. I don't know what exactly happened. It was a long time ago. But you guys cannot be on your phones when you're on the school property. If I get a report that you are, there will be disciplinary action. And I'm telling you right now. So don't do it. Don't be on your phone when you're on the school property. I understand when you have to get to the well, you have to take pictures, you have to do stuff like that. But when you're in the vehicle driving, no. And they agreed.
And I think one thing we really want to emphasize is this was the one-time thing that happened. This isn't something that's a consistent or a constant thing that goes on. It's a thing that happened. And from the understanding it did happen over the weekend, that's we normally don't have people on campus during the weekend unless we have a meeting going on, and so I think and I think that's what we really want to emphasize. This isn't something that's everyday thing. We're not seeing this every day. We're not having people speed through to go check the well or anything like that on a daily basis. From that time, I don't believe that I've ever seen a private vehicle from an employee on campus. So it's been a village truck, a village, and and I know that because it looks similar to the one that we drive, and so it's like, is that ours or is that the village? And so I think that's kind of what I really want to emphasize in there is that this happened. I believe it was December of 2022, so it's been about over a year at this point. And I think we've moved forward once we've kind of had that conversation and done what we needed to do. And I think that's the big piece that I really want to push out there is this isn't something that we're seeing, not something that we're getting a report on a weekly basis. My principal's not calling me saying, hey, you got them driving through here again, and it's erratic or anything like that. So I think that's the big piece is not anything on your guys. I don't think, you know, even if there was something put in place, like, this isn't just for your employees, this is for anybody, this is for our employees as well. If I have an employee driving through there the same way, it's the same conversation. It's like, hey, you're gonna figure out how to get to work because you're not gonna be driving on work if that's the way you're gonna be driving. So, you know, I think that that's the same thing. Isn't us trying to find a way to keep your guys out. It's just the safety in general of all of our kids.
Another thing to add to that, in the last 2 months, all of our guys, all of our employees have had an 8-hour defensive driving class that we had. Our insurance carrier came in here and they're certified instructors. The defensive driving class. So we do take safety seriously. They are, that's one of the things that we've done a little bit more in the past, but through 2024, they will be doing monthly safety training here in this office.
Let's move forward. We talked about the past, let's
That's
move
just
forward.
what I was gonna say, how can we move forward from here?
I guess. When you don't want the 2 acres?
Well, you need to, I would
Well,
believe.
well, that's what
What is it that you're asking of us?
Well, because if you don't want the 2 acres, then tell me how much of that for the well is you want carved out. Yeah.
I think we should, I think we should get whatever Conrad, there's 2 acres that Conrad Roybal designated or whatever
We
it
didn't
is.
survey that.
Well,
Or
we
survey
haven't
with your half
surveyed-
acre.
Oh, half acre.
That's where you guys have fenced already.
The problem I have with now saying we don't want the 2 acres is that we did that whole water, I mean, it's not easy to change an ordinance. It's not like we can, if I want to change an ordinance next week, we can't do it. We gotta do public hearings, we got to advertise it in the paper, we have to, and I'm not trying to sound negative, don't get me wrong right now, but we changed that ordinance based off of the idea that that's what we are getting in return with 2 acres. So I just, I mean, that's kind of where.
How did the ordinance get changed for when the land was never even on the table?
Yeah, I don't think that.
It's never been
I
on
think
the
it's changed
table.
before.
So how did the ordinance get into place with it?
That
whole
October
thing.
4th agreement that she just referenced. You guys,
We didn't offer the 2 acres of land.
There's no
way up.
minutes, no meeting, no nothing.
it was
Well,
also
we-
before we did the ordinance.
We
That's the
we
one
had
reason
talked about it, is you wanted us to donate the land where the well was.
There was
That's
never an
kind of
amount.
what we said, okay, I know, but you fix the water rate, we'll donate the land. But we weren't considering the whole 2 acres. That was just the portion of where the well was, instead of saying, I want $10,000 or 50 grand because you put a well and caused us damage, Daniel, because you did it without permission. So we said, well, I guess the way we looked at it was, it's the water, then we'll be willing to donate the land, but not the 2 acres. So then
We
said-
never set an amount.
So just so you know, we're on our side of the ball, that 2 acres, we said, well, we'll give that to the village, but I honestly was under the understanding that you did have an easement in that backside. You don't, okay, now I understand. And then, what was the difference between, at least for us, we said if we grant an easement, that's gonna be a little different, you know, for the whole thing. But you're asking for an access. We could say if we didn't come to terms or something terrible happened, then we say, well, we're gonna pull our access back, okay. That's kind of new to me, at least I didn't know that before we got here today. So, I'm with you, Mayor. You did say we'll work with the water, get you guys a better deal. We'll give you guys that, we would consider the land donation. But at the time, we were thinking it's only that portion where the well was. So then we said, well, hey, let's just give them that whole back corner. At the end of the day, it will serve you better than the district. Hands down. But I think for it's safe to say that you passed the water ordinance with 2 acres wasn't what we had discussed at that time. We were on the other hand saying, let's give them the 2 acres and then they can have the access to the backside. Yeah, so I didn't know that till today that you didn't have that. So
what is it you're
let's just
proposing?
say, why don't you either said we'll do the fence or good with that. You came across and said we'll work with the water. I'm good with that. You put the road because since way back that was the idea. You guys maintain that road. Now that we're under understanding that we're not granting an easement but rather an access, I think that kind of helps out the situation.
When you're referring to the backside, what is it you're referring to?
That those 2 acres.
Quarter acre?
Well, see, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
from the well fence
Yeah.
back to where the school property ends, which borders right at the Martinez property road. So it's almost by the power line.
Which is half acre, a full acre?
It's 1.9 something. Yeah, right back there.
Yeah, it's almost, it's the whole. Now, how we put
So-
that fence, that's always back, wherever the well is, it's that whole site.
I think the other thing that they put on the table is we would cover half the survey for the 2 acres we're donating.
Yeah, we kind of have. But, I think at least let's figure out today how much of that then we're not gonna put the whole 2 acres on the table for the land that we're gonna donate. What is it that you wanted in the original one?
I still think.
Can I step in real quick again, Mayor? I apologize. The 2 acres.
An attorney to, we're doing good without the attorneys. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
If you feel so. I won't step in, Mayor, if you.
No, go ahead, Chris. I do want the attorneys here because if there was language lost between the attorneys and us, then we need to find out. So go ahead, Chris. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, the question of the 2 acres came from a proposal from the school district. I don't know, I want to stress that proposal came from the school district. It did not come from the village. And there was no discussion in that proposal regarding our access agreement from the backside or anything of that nature. We simply accepted the proposal that was provided to the village. I can provide you those emails, I can provide you that letter if you would like to review it, but it was not the village who made that request.
We made that, because, just like I said, but at least.
So what's the difference between 2 acres and 1.9? You're saying the backside is 1.9 acre.
Well,
You
yeah.
don't have to say 2 acres, you say the backside and it's 1.9 acre.
Well,
that's-
it would be like
The difference is half acre to 2 acres.
Yeah, half an
Yeah,
acre.
that's the.
What's fenced in is what
What you
was
have.
original.
I just don't think at this point I'd like to take the 2 acres off the table either. We didn't request it, but I don't think
Well, and
we
that's-
kind of made our
That's
decision.
kind of how we did the same thing, is why we went with that.
And we made that
because-
offer thinking you were coming in from the back, you had easement.
Yeah, well, and we didn't know.
That was
Did-
never.
That was never, yeah, that was never.
That's where I'm saying, that's how we came to that whole idea was bueno. Because you wanted the land to be donated, and we said, oh, sell it to you. And it was all that back. But this is where we're at now. So
Okay.
if we can collectively agree, and I'm just speaking for me, idea, but the access, not the full easement, right? One, that's good, I think we could agree on that. Two, the road gets taken care of, gravelled and.
It's right there. We could use ours.
We can call the highway department, whatever, put something good there. The fence, you've already said, you have the quotes, we did the fence.
Can't do it now because of the winter, but once the
Yeah,
spring hits and it's the
yeah.
ground
So
thaws.
the only thing is that, what are we gonna see as far as donation of that property? Because at the end of the day, we're gonna, whether we like it or not, we're paying half of the survey, so how much are we gonna survey cut out to go to the?
And can I just say that the fencing has to be around the village property. I thought the fence was gonna be that border of the village property to the school
Well, it would be with that.
with the 2 acres
With the
thing. And
full-
that's what we
yeah.
had got a quote
Yeah.
for, because we can't fence school property. We could only fence our property.
Oh, well, then you won't be able to fence that at all.
Yeah, we can,
Because we own both sides. You wouldn't even get that side at all where the fence is going. Your fence is going way further back by
Right there by the football field.
150 feet.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the properties.
that's what they gave us.
We can fence it as requested. It would have a benefit to the village. There wouldn't be any sort of donation clause issues. The benefit to the village would be the lack of access to the property itself. So the line that was drawn is the quote that was drafted, and the line that was drawn was provided by you folks. So, that's.
So that's okay then. Okay.
It's a little over, it's almost
700 feet.
Well, let's also clarify what the road is, because being
Yeah,
with Sarah,
you're
we
right
was
about
here
that.
from the past, and there was an argument back then about what the road was. So let's clarify what the road,
That sounds good.
let's clarify what the road is, or where the road starts from. That was a dispute back then too.
I think it has to be identified on the survey. Even if it's just labeled as access road.
Because I remember part of it was from the fence to the well, that's what we consider the road. And then the school had a different interpretation.
Yeah.
So let's just make sure we're on the same page with what the road is.
Well, the whole access is actually through the entire property, so you have to identify from the moment it enters the school, all the way through the parking lot, all the way through the
Has to
back.
be a
and then to the
specific
village.
route.
So you have to identify the entire access. So it's not just this property, it's the
Presumed.
entire.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
So we'd have to maintain everything from the
No,
gate?
no, we have everything asphalt. We're just saying we have to label it in the agreement that the access starts at the gate.
Oh, okay, the
all the way
access,
through.
not the maintenance of the road.
Then
part.
mark on the map, this part needs to be maintained, which is the dirt part.
Okay.
And just the access agreement portion, we wouldn't have to define that specifically, and the reason that I would suggest that we do not define that specifically is for the same reason you stated you wanted to build something.
So what Chris is saying is that if we did build there and it changed access, then we would, so he's saying it's probably not best. Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. Chris, I want to correct one thing. I appreciate what you're saying about the property donation. I think what has thrown folks off is that someone said 2.8 acres. Wait, just hold on a second.
Easy.
I said to you, Jose actually created a Google map, and I asked him to create a red mark. Can I share my screen? Because I asked him to create a red mark around of like a boundary of what would be donated and where the fence would be. And that is what I sent with our proposal, and that's what was approved by the board in July. I don't know if that's 2 acres or not. So can I just share can I share my screen?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me see if it'll work. Can you see it? Jose created this. Do you see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Jose created this. This is what he was representing to the council what the board wanted. So when we made the proposal, like I said, I don't know if it's 2.8 acres or not, but the fence,
I don't mean to cut you off, but that's totally fine. I don't think there's any objection to that portion. But the question's been, it sounds like to me, if it's only this portion that you're discussing, this red portion, which is what the village's understanding was, or if it's simply the portion that's boxed in around the well, which is much smaller than this portion that you're discussing. Well, I don't think there's any argument whether, if it's 2 acres or not 2 acres, 1.9, 2 acres, that sort of thing. But it's definitely bigger than the portion that's fenced around the well currently. That was the discussion that I believe was the 2 options here. Does that make sense?
So
I'm not sure. I'm just telling you, if you and I had a miscommunication, then that's different, but I sent this to you and this is.
No, we're on the same page for that red mark right there, whatever that red mark is. The question is different just between, the fence size, the fence area is smaller than that red mark, but the red mark is fine.
Oh, okay, so maybe I can ask my board, because I think my board's frustrated with me that I misrepresented something, but this is what I understood. And if I got something wrong, I will totally take responsibility.
No.
But this is what I thought we were doing, and this is what I proposed to Chris.
Sam, you're not incorrect. What we did is we honestly assumed, and that's our problem, our fault for assuming that they had access through the back.
Yeah, so we thought if we give them that, then they can come over to the back and there's no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
So that changes things. No, definitely, I agree. I mean,
Okay, so I just want to be clear, because I'm candidly also frustrated because I don't know what I got wrong from my board, if that's true.
You didn't get anything wrong, Sam. It was the assumption that they had access to that back road. And so that's when they decided that, if you watch where that thought was that Mr. Member Lovato had said, it actually went along that road that came back, the one that we had driven that day and went out. It goes along that road, and so that's what the purpose was. That is so that they had access. If they did have that access from the back, it gave them that access to come to the back and be able to go along what would be their property, not the school district's property.
So when you in the agreement, so Chris sent me a letter on October 4th that talked about access, and I gave that to the board and to John. So when the board accepted that proposal, it was the understanding that the access meant from the back.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have that right?
Yes, it was.
Is that what you're saying? Okay, so that's where I guess confusion arose, is that the board thought, when you were saying, Chris, right? Because you and I talked about this. The board was believing that they were giving access by donating the land in the back, when in reality, that's not true. So the council believed that access meant across school property. Is that what the real problem is?
Yes, you got it.
All right, so we were mistaken. I mean, when I say we, I mean I didn't know anything about easements or not, and actually I asked John. I said, John, go find out what the easement is, because that was the whole problem. And but this is after the fact, so we're all operating on a mistake of fact that there was an easement. The Martinez's, right? Is that where the easement was? Okay, so there isn't one. So now what?
That's what we're trying to.
Yeah.
We're trying to get that
I
access.
mean, I understand that nobody wants to rehash the past, except that all of that has given rise to expectations of people. Like, my board thought forever that the council was just going to take care of the road and build the fence, and that we didn't have to donate the land. So that was that expectation, and that was disappointed. And then, I think back and forth. Now the council thinks that we gave them all the land. But I get it. I get that there have been differences of
With our
opinion
map,
about what the agreements were.
But you guys have already gotten something in return for it. You're getting essentially, you're getting a fence and the road not paved, but gravel.
Right, but originally it was nothing. That's,
Well, because originally we were paying for water that was getting hooked off property that we owned. We don't own the well and the water in it, but we own the property that is extracting it.
The well itself is on those properties, just a little bit of
The building and all the access.
no, the new well's on our
The
property.
well, yeah, the
It's,
it is
I'll check the survey.
The one by the front offices, you guys. Let's just get back apart here.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
The old well.
Let's figure this out here now, so that we don't have to be back and forth again. Are you saying, Jose, that, what is that, acre and a half, or what is that?
No, it's a little more. I'd have to pull the exact measurements. But to be surveyed, it's probably 2.5.
It's pretty close to that 2.8.
Because it has that little drop down in Martinez's, so it adds a little extra footage at the sliver and then goes.
Would you be amenable to an acre around that well? Cut it in half and let him have that.
I think if we're gonna get the survey, just cut the whole thing right there. I mean, what can we do with?
We're not gonna use property around, because they're also gonna have their utilities and their pipe goes through there. It goes north, right?
You have utilities that go through it, electrical that goes through it.
Yeah, on the other side, yeah.
On that other side.
So I would also, because it's gonna be, there's gonna be another issue, that you're gonna have the property owner behind you also wanting to use that same access through the school. But once it comes to your property, it's gonna be, I would hope it's your responsibility to maintain it. So whatever we give you, we would like it fenced completely. That way once you get to the well, there's no going past that. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of what we said, it was just lock the gate and then, well, we'll be.
Because what's gonna happen is,
Here we're at.
your property is now gonna become an access road for somebody else's neighbors.
So, I mean, I guess we have two options. We can either fence that front part or we can fence that.
But you can do whatever you want with the 2 acres.
Okay, so you're not worried about those.
It's just, it's more of a warning is, that's gonna become an access road for
I would
the neighbors.
suggest.
Yeah, we don't want to put.
I mean, you don't have to do chain link.
Yeah, no, we're still gonna do. And then I think to go with that, we quoted the actual gate that,
So
not that cattle gate that's
So
there right now that we need the, I don't think it's even, the last time I was there, it was missing.
It's there.
So the question B is we're still looking at fencing the area that we originally, with the gate.
Yeah.
If you guys do, that would be on your own deal to fence to what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think, I mean, if you guys are okay with that, we have that money set aside, but we have to spend that money soon, if not we lose it. So if you guys don't, and I'm not saying this as a threat in any way, but if you guys don't agree to that, we're gonna have to find another different way to spend it before we lose it.
So I guess I want to ask real quick while we're here, are you opposed, 2.7 acres is what it actually is. Cut it right down to the thing, that way it's not, you can do whatever you want. You guys survey it, but you actually keep your road, our access road along the fence. Because right now it's about 40, it starts at the fence and then moves in kind of like just, they're just driving through the middle of the field, so it moves over like 50, 60 feet by the time it goes towards the well. But if you keep it along the road, keep it along the road, along the fence, we don't lose no property over here and it's just directly to your well.
Sam, can you pull your survey back up or the map back up, Sam?
We'll set it up.
Sorry.
Don't look too into it.
Just stop breathing, it won't fall.
I guess my question is instead of, because it seems, I don't see the map again, but
Yeah, the road
Let him use the cursor. So he
starts
can
on the south,
explain it.
but kind of goes.
So my thing,
Yeah.
yeah, you could just follow it right there. All, so taking that road and just moving it right here, because that road has no material on it anyway, so it's not losing anything. But you just, oh,
No, it's on the other side.
There's a side by side, on my side, on our side, yeah.
so I'm not moving it closer to the road. It doesn't have to be on the fence, but moving it just a little closer. 'Cause right now, it's about 40 to 50 feet by the time you get to the well, away from the fence. So if you move that road, because the way you start at the beginning by the field, you're you're right at the fence. So if you move that road and you just follow the fence line to the well, it kind of just.
It also needs to put a culvert.
We could actually easily identify that access road 10 feet or from the fence all the way 25 feet. This is the access road versus now it's from the fence 50 plus feet down the line.
It's not a bad deal.
I think the problem with the culvert is you're gonna send everything into our property now.
Doesn't it go there now? Where does the water? It just pulls up right at the gate.
Yeah, exactly. You want a culvert to go into our property?
Or it isn't, the water pulls up at the
Because
gate and it crosses
yeah.
there now, no into
Yeah,
that
it
ditch?
doesn't cross too much, no, but, if, we put a culvert there, it's gonna go straight into our account, which we can manage if we're watering, but if we're cutting, we got a problem.
Because I mean, for us, we just don't want the mud back on the asphalt.
I think that's why
That's because
that's where we're gonna,
well, if you build it up, it's just gonna fill up.
If you build up
into
this-
the middle of the road.
yeah, that's where we're gonna build the road, so with buildings, like you said, 'cause we have.
You may need to put, you'll have to
We
base
have what buildings that we.
it's gonna be about a foot buildup.
That's right, so if we had this in place 3 months ago, we would have just had a number doing it. At the time that he was doing work for us. And I'm not saying we can't go back to doing that. I guess with that, now we can go out for another contract.
Access granted, road built along the fence street, so it's just that fence
I
that runs
guess,
across and
Almost 3
It's almost
acres.
3.
but you guys pay for the survey on that.
and I guess that we need to go back to, council for the approval on that, and then Karen, you have to see if we have the money to actually do it.
Okay.
'Cause that's an additional, building road isn't gonna be cheap, so I guess that's my concern a little bit, is that.
You're building a road anyway.
We've
That's
been-
not a road.
We've been waiting
That is
for
a
a road
two-track.
for 100 years.
That's a 2-track.
Yeah, that's not a.
And that's a 2-track.
Yeah,
So not maintaining nothing other than a 2-track. You technically gotta build an access road.
We got the village right there. I don't know.
Well, we have plans too. I'm not worried about the material, I'm just worried about the cost of doing it, because that's not gonna.
So, looking at maintaining the road, where would you guys want them to start the maintenance of the road?
On the
As
corner,
soon as we come
once the
out.
asphalt ends.
So up, more
Up a little more.
Keep going west.
Up that way,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Right there, right there.
Right.
As soon as
After
the
the
asphalt
asphalt
ends.
ends. That's where the mud starts from there. all the way. Yeah. I think, Sam, Chris has it.
Chris, here, yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to switch, excuse me, I'm gonna have to switch over to my phone, for the meeting. Do you want me to email this, photo to somebody so you can keep it up on the screen? Or do you,
I think we're
what
good.
would you like?
I think we're good on that.
Sorry, say it again?
We're okay. That's okay, Sam.
Okay.
That's the agreement,
Okay.
3 acres.
We'll get the exact.
Yeah, whatever.
We'll get the exact.
Almost 3 acres.
The check and all that was fine. I don't think
If Conrad already surveyed most of the property and we can get him.
So he's available, because we've been in communication, he's available to do it. We were just waiting for this meeting to happen.
It's gonna be a matter of those your new corner pieces, all you have to survey.
Just if we have to go through that process, we have to go through our procurement. Doesn't necessarily mean that it will be Conrad, it could be anybody that, depending on how our procurement comes out. Right?
What's the amount?
Yeah, it depends on what the amount.
Depends on the amount. Make sure that we don't violate.
What's our dollar threshold?
I'm guessing.
Yeah, we didn't even pay that for the entire original survey.
30,000 for 2 quarters.
60/30, wasn't that 10?
I'm all five.
I know we can't make it over thing, but I think an actual handshake deal like the old days will work, and I think you'll do it at your next meeting, we'll be at our next meeting. Done.
I think you gotta write it up and then we have to approve.
Right.
And then we'll send it to you.
This is really.
We do have a meeting next Tuesday, so if we can get something, it'd be great.
And I don't think we per se have to approve anything, right? We just need to make sure we have a budget for it. And then if there's any bars, that's what we have to moving our budget money around to, if we have it, to pay for the survey and build out the road. That makes sense?
Yes.
So that's where, I mean, I guess I would just ask that you guys take a look on this next meeting. If it's yes, it's yes. If it's no, for whatever reason, then we look at our options. But
We'll do our vote. All I can ask is, we've been in here since day one for 6 years. I don't really want to come back and be asking for the same thing. Be like, please fix that road. Please fix the road. Please fix the road. I know you don't have a budget. Please fix the road. That's what happened. It seemed like is like it just can't push. Is at least do, if there's no budget, try to get it within.
in fairness, the whole time I was on the council, I never been to council. I really didn't hear about it. I know it's not your fault, but in fairness to me, I just started hearing about this issue. I kind of knew it was there, but it never got discussed in the meeting.
We will make sure it gets done.
Since we have funding.
Yes.
We have the funding already for the fence. So as soon as it's good weather, we can get the contractor out here. Of course, the price is going up now because it's after January 1st. He already warned us about that, but we'll get that fence as soon as we can. And then just on the fence piece, if we can't do it for spring break, do you want us to wait until after school's over to do it? Because then they're gonna be on the property with trucks and equipment and all that stuff while the kids are there.
We're gonna fence off all properties already, and so if you guys are fine, if you have trucks and vehicles on the property. We just wanna get this project done as quickly as we can.
Okay.
We're gonna be fencing both schools.
Okay, so it's okay to do it during your in-school time. I just wanna make that clear because I don't want.
Same check-in though.
They'll have to do the same.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, we'll let you know who the contractor is and when the time frame is.
Just so they don't go parking the bus and all that.
No, that we already had that discussion.
Well, I'm glad we could get together, guys, and get this worked out, because back and forth is just,
Been too long.
But years in the
Teamwork.
making.
Too long.
and I think it cleared up a lot of good stuff for us, so that push forward and work together. I know it's coming up, but unless there's some trails, like to try and get that from the library
Yes,
to the high school, and other things that we can together to work with. Some of this money.
Do you feel the need that maybe we should meet on a quarterly like this, just to kind of discuss things that are going on?
A work study session between even like somewhat of a retreat for us to kind of talk about all our projects and work together on them.
At least once a year.
Bi-yearly.
Something like that, so that we
6
can.
months?
You know, the Cap Valley starts going out way before, so we meet on 6 months. Try to get it late.
I know there's a project. It's gonna take a village to get accomplished on it. We all are going to need to building a new elementary school. Ground up. Will offer us, working together, we can get the elementary is now. Whatever you guys might need. Here, you know, we can collaborate to do something good for the community.
Let's talk about that.
That was on our list.
That's on the list. Yeah, we have a property that we want to donate back to you guys.
That's anti-donation.
We'll sell it to you for $1.
Can't do that, we found out.
Yeah, I don't know.
How would you like property in Amaya?
Yeah.
Incorporate the whole thing.
We have property, of course, yeah, dude.
We're off our agenda.
Yeah, we're off.
Yeah.
We're all good. Anyone else have any?
We're good, I think we're.
Drinking the well.
We'll adjourn at 7:18.
You sure we still have like 4 hours?
I'll save you
Thank
guys
you so
some
much.
sleep tonight. You guys might want to come to our meeting.
Thank you,
What
guys.
to do? Going on this early.
The best still happens about heaven.
You guys are threatening our,
And I also actually have another idea, but I didn't want to talk about it during the meeting. So maybe the county could help build a road as a training mechanism.
I don't know how to turn it off.
And use the millings.
Little, it's so tiny.